All right, let's kick it off, people. Who's here to have some fun, right? And learn something in the meantime? So go ahead. What are you going to say?
I'm just saying you're the one with the energy.
Well, I know. I'm the one with the energy.
And the hair.
All right, so we're going to have some fun, okay? Me and Kobe, we were talking about this. We had the opportunity to come up here and present to everybody. And, when we talk about, like, data versus engagement, we're really kind of talking about old school mentality versus new school mentality. We have to, at the industry level in automotive, we have to focus on the customer. So what we'd like to do for you is to get some energy going. We want to do 3 skits from automotive and have some fun and just see how fun it is to kind of see old school mentality versus maybe a newer style of selling cars. Does that make sense? Everybody ready? Everybody ready? So if you don't know, I'm dressed up as the Badger. All right, so let's get to the first slide, and I'm going to get into character mode here. Let's get our customer up here. Come here, Lisa. Here we go.
All right, so as Lisa's coming up here, obviously everybody knows that kind of old school kind of car dog. I know if you've seen any of Steve's videos prior, he's done the Badger scenario. But that old school car dog is, the jaded, grumpy, he has a cigarette in his mouth right now. So, completely fueled by the nicotine coffee and the ham sandwiches from the vending machine. And then you have, I'm not trying to boast myself up and all, but, you have somebody that's maybe a little bit more fresher, savvy, understands kind of the modern customer's, journey, that customer-centric journey. So these skits are going to be the kind of the opposite, the antithesis of each other, displaying how that is. So, first skit that we have, which I don't memorize things very well, that's why we have these.
No.
So, yeah. So, first skit that we have, we are on the showroom, and there is a customer in the area, which would be Miss Elisa over here. And we'll go ahead and get started with Mr. Sleaze.
Well, if it isn't my favorite time of the day, Bob Sleaze, the Car King, here to show you how the deal is done.
Bob, I couldn't help but notice that you're still using that dazzling technique.
Oh, you mean the Sleaze shine? Man, it's a classic, my dear. Never going out of style.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using a little bit of a slightly different approach, and I'd love to share it with you if you're, open.
A different approach, you say? What's wrong with the old Sleaze shine?
Well, Bob, I nowadays the customers that are, coming into the store now are really wanting more of a transparent approach, customer-centric approach.
Transparent? Customer-centric? What's all that mumbo-jumbo about?
It's about building trust. Look, let me demonstrate. Hey there, hold on. Hey there, I'm Sean. Where am I at? There we go. Thank you, appreciate that. Hey there, I'm Sean. Nice to meet you. I'm here to help you find the most perfect car that you have. I do have a couple questions for you. Are you looking for a car, truck, SUV?
Yeah, that's really impressive. I've had some very pushy salespeople in the past.
Well, look at this. I got my own techniques. Watch this. Hey, girlie. You want to buy this car? We call it the pumpkin spice right there. If you're interested, I can put your name on it like they do at Starbucks.
Maybe I should just ask Sean instead.
See, Bob, in the end, customers actually genuinely appreciate when you listen to them. Not every single customer is a pumpkin spice customer.
Like that? Come on, give a round of applause. Skit number 1, people.
Yeah.
All right, set it up, Scooby.
Good news is we only have 2 more. So
That's right.
All right, so second one, this is, Bob and I, we're in our offices kind of answering inbound phone calls and just throwing a cigarette away? Yeah. Answering the inbound phone calls. And so it's kind of the opposite of how this happens at, some dealerships.
Oop. I can't do it this way. All right. Yes, ma'am, we got that car you're interested in, but let me tell you, it's the deal of a century.
Okay, but what's the price?
Well, how about I surprise you when you come on down here? It's a good one. You won't believe it.
Actually, I have to know the price before I visit.
Hey there. Hey, yeah, I'd be happy to provide you with the price. That 23 model GMC Sierra, it's actually $48,795. And I also just want to let you know that we also don't add any additional prices or addendums or anything else on top of that. Do you have any other questions or concerns about the vehicle?
What do you mean you can't come in? I can't give you the price over the phone. My manager won't let me. What do you think we are, Amazon?
So, I mean, in the end, we're going to go into the next skit, but how many people have listened to whether they're, their Car Wars or their call review or whatever, and you've heard both sides of that conversation? That's really understanding the differences between, how, I guess, traditionally follow-up and engagement with customers are and where we're going to now. So, third skit, showroom floor. Again, we are now looking at our phones. Unfortunately, Steve left his flip phone at home. But this is going through same kind of scenario, but it's via text message. Obviously, we don't have the text messages to show you. It's a little bit more difficult to do that. So we're going to be stating them out loud, but roughly same thing.
I got my flip phone right here.
Hey, Bob, I'm interested in the black sedan. Can you send me the details?
Sure thing, girlie. I'll send you a pic in a second.
What? This has got to be a joke. Bob? That's just a black Bob. I can't see anything.
Well, it's black. You get what you pay for.
Sure, I'd absolutely love to be able to send you some information and some photos on that vehicle. Let me go ahead and grab my phone and get that over to you. I'm going to shoot you several high-resolution images, also with the specs, the copy of the sticker, and you know what? I'll go ahead and do a 360-degree video for you.
Wow. Sean, this is impressive. This is great. Thanks.
All right, what do you think? Sketch, baby, come on.
Woo!
Bad acting gets a round of applause. Yeah, we were going to memorize all this. All right. So, oh wait, I don't need that. All right. So thank you. Give it up for Alyssa, everybody, for participating. All right. So really, we know this is extreme, guys. Okay, we're just wanting to have some fun, liven it up, and just talk about, obviously, some of the things we talked about old school, right? So if we talk about some of the things, we're talking about database management and understanding the customer's journey. We got to think about what your processes are when it comes to like something on follow-up. And I want you to really think about the customer's journey and how fast customers buying cars, especially when we get to Colby's data. But if we go out there and I ask you about your business rules, okay, I'm not going to read all these to you, but how far out do you all go with your business rules? If we know that 70% of customers are buying a car in 4 days, how long do we want to chase and badger these customers? 70% in 4 days. You'll see Colby's data here in a second. But if we keep saying call till they buy or die type mentalities, does everybody remember all these templates? How many of y'all are still sending templates out to your customers? Raise your hand. Come on, everybody's got templates in their CRM. Thank you. All right. What if we know where the customers are buying, can we all challenge yourselves to start thinking, get rid of your templates for at least 10 days. What do you think of that? Could you do it? All right. So going from an old school mentality understanding is, Colby, what have you done at your dealership?
So actually, and Steve and I were talking earlier, whenever we made this deck a week and a half ago, we had 7 days of business rules. So the first 7 days had some structured in the business rules. We've actually reduced that down to 4 as of last week, kind of before coming into this. But really on our side, we focus on the actual communication, making sure that our team dives in, goes as far into the conversation, gives them and provides them with any kind of data, any kind of information, pure transparency. We're engaging before, after the communication. We're not just to set it and forget it, like setting an appointment on Monday and not calling them until the day of the appointment to say, hey, are you going to be showing up? We make sure to continue the follow-up throughout the whole pipeline of the customer. But at the same time, we also look at all the various channels, whether it's calls, text, emails, video, live stream, you name it. We're going to do anything possible to just make sure that we're connecting with the customer. It's not structured, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the bullet points he has on there, re-engage customers that were talking to us yesterday. How many of you do that? There's a new term called digital showroom. The digital showroom are the customers that you cannot see, but they are talking to your store. They're talking to you through artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But if they're talking to technology, teeing up the engagement for your people to respond, that's how you leverage the technology. But if you had 100 customers talking to your showroom, how many customers did you have yesterday? You have 100 customers talking to you yesterday. How many opportunities do we have, Jeremy? 100. Celebrate that at your dealership. If I ask you how many customers are in your digital showroom right now, you better know it. And if you don't know it, you're losing opportunities because the customers are buying cars faster than ever. If you hit the next slide, talk about your data there.
Yeah, so we actually pulled this last week, and so it's really talking about making sure that we're doing the right activity at the right time. So the fact that we moved, initially down to the 7 days of business rules, and then now even going down to the 4 now, I don't have the data on the 4 because it's been a week, but at the 7-day business rules, and we're looking at specifically our used cars for the group, 75% of our sales happen between day 1 and day 9. So obviously, there's some additional growth that we can make with that and with some other options, but it all went down into how are we communicating with the customers from the get-go, what's the cadence, and making sure that we're being transparent with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if this was your store's data, what would you do? Would you still go out 90 days, 60 days? Probably not. You're wasting your people's time is the point. And that's what I think you all have to realize is look at your data on what the customers are doing. I look at stores all across the country, and I'll tell you, Colby's data right there will match your data. You're all on the planet Earth, aren't we? So that's how fast customers are buying. Hit the next one, please. So me and Colby, we actually have a good, healthy debate on this. We'll kind of argue on this. But how many of you use AI right now at your store? All right. One of the hardest things to understand is how to leverage technology. And if we were to go out there and if you knew this data, and this is a study I literally just got done doing at our company, if you knew that the AI is going to get 48% of your overall internet lead engagement, and you add humans to it, you get another, 20% on top of that. That's how you leverage the technology. And the way I would go out there for all of you using AI, I guarantee it, you guys have pushback from either your BDC or your salespeople. The AI is getting in the way, right? You get that? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. The AI does not get paid, your people do. The AI is there to get engagement. That's the fundamental principle. People could go out there and talk about how to, what the AI issue is, but you have to figure out how your technology you bought, how it's going to work with your team. Now, there's technology going out there, and I want you all to think about this. There are some good AI companies here, but if you go into a long-term follow-up mode because Colby and his team are going to focus on what? The meat and potatoes, maybe the 9 days. If we could get technology, get re-engagement at almost 20%, that 4% of long-term follow-up are deals that your store has given up on. That's a fact. Your people aren't chasing these customers. And you always say, dealers always say, where do I sell more cars? What's 4% of your total opportunities?
That, for the group, that would be 70, 80 cars.
How would you like 70, 80 cars? All right. And to be fair, Colby does not have artificial intelligence. And why is that? Oh, woo, Tommy.
Yeah, no, I mean, so to be transparent, like I used the AI with Drive for a very short amount of time at one of our stores because we didn't have the staff. I needed some help in some regard to make sure that at least our customers are getting followed up with. As soon as we staffed up, we abandoned that. And it wasn't anything like Drive didn't do anything or the AI with Drive wasn't bad. It's just, I pay my people to follow up. That's their job. So the mentality on our end was, why do I have to pay somebody else when I'm already paying my people to do their job? So it really comes down to right now, we're looking at holding the accountability of follow-up, holding the accountability of the cadence of their job. Once we build that up and we've maximized their capability, then sure, yeah, we can bring an AI in some form or fashion to give us the extra 4% or extra 5%.
Now, how many people feel like that in the room? Really? How many people feel like that? Raise your hand. I hired people to do the job, not technology. Right? All right. I got a question for you. All right, Colby. How many opportunities per person do you get per like BDC rep or sales rep?
Like 300.
300. Anybody here go to NADA school, NCM school? Listen to their OEMs, listen to consultants. Tom, how many leads can a BDC rep handle? Cradle to appointment? A regular BDC, because there's, let's be honest. 80 to 100. Okay, the stats from usually the NCMs, the NADAs of the world are usually 125 to 150. 125 to 150. You guys get that? You guys agree, right? Okay, I got a license blessing. It's gold. All right. So, but here's the thing. 300 per person. Do you think his people are drowning all the time and you're losing deals?
So that's just the fresh opportunities for that month. That's, phone calls, showroom traffic, internet campaigns. Yeah, there's significantly more if we're looking at month over month and all the continual follow-up. The difference on our side, yes, I agree with the NADA and that you should be maxed out on that when it comes to the initial engagement, but the way that we operate in the store is it's an engagement-based process. So it's not a business rule. It's not, hey, every day or every other day you're sending an email or a text or a phone call and you're assigned these tasks to do. It's all based off of the last engagement, the last attempt, all these other items within the CRM. So 300 people, although it's a lot, on our side, our team is doing very well with it, but there's definitely ways that we can maximize that by changing some stuff.
And the one thing, I'm just going to throw this out there as an example, right? Does anybody here own a Roomba? Okay, a couple people have a Roomba. Do you still sweep the floors? Of course not. That's what you got a Roomba for. A Roomba is your AI. So if you know the AI does text and email, what do you think you don't have your people do? Text and email. They make a phone call and you have them send a video. You don't double task. That's where your people, I guarantee, are feeling the rub, because I got to send an email when the AI already sent an email or send a text, so it's double the work, and then that's how you badger. So you got to think, and a good analogy is the Roomba. So it's a great debate, but it's a fun thing to think about. If you have technology, just understand how it operates. You have to manage it like a person. You have to manage it like a person. Jason, you got a question? Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, you're talking about the 75% versus the 1%.
Oh, is that where you're?
Yeah. And so there's still follow-up being done, like in our CRM and other platforms and systems. There's still long-term follow-up being done from a text blast or phone calls or engagement. That's being done, but not at the level of engagement or the level of expectation from the first 9 days.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I came into it really, when I came over to Cavender, which was last December, I just kind of wiped everything out and started fresh and say, okay, we need to change and do something different. So this is data based off of the initial change of switching to CRM and then changing it from a business rule, very structured process to an engagement process. So that was the result from the engagement process.
Yep. All right. We beat that to a dead horse. Let's go to the next one. All right, so the next one is my favorite. Video. How many in here are doing video? Come on, Ray. There you go. I no longer is. All right, my man. All right, so what's the old school mentality? Why can't we get people to shoot video at the store? And I always say it's head trash. Number one, it's always going to be head trash. You're going to get people that say, oh, they're not going to watch my video. Nobody wants to see this ugly guy or gal on video. You can't get buy-in. You can't get buy-in from the store, right? Sometimes you don't want to show the trade secrets because you want them to come in, all right? That's the old school mentality. And I promise you, some of you in this room that aren't doing video, if you tried to implement it, it failed, guaranteed, right? You don't celebrate video. So Colby, what have you done to celebrate video at your stores? Or what do you think is happening?
Well, I mean, we'll get to the celebration of video in a minute. But on our side, we champion video more than anything else. I mean, it's something that we track on a daily basis. It's something that all of the members of our organization do, from the sales management to internet managers to our BDC to the sales staff. But the reason that we champion the video engagement is because traditionally the group that I was at didn't necessarily have the reputation, I would say, of complete and utter transparency. It had a great reputation, but it was still kind of an old school mentality. And I'll reference this. There was a focus group that the store did about a year before I got there, and they were asking the community and everybody, hey, what do you think of Cavender when you think of Cavender? And they said, old rich white guys. Which at the time wasn't necessarily wrong, but we needed to change the mentality and change who the customers that we're bringing in, because there was a certain demographic of customers that were repeat referral, kept coming in. But I live in San Antonio, Texas. It's fairly diverse. So we need to capture different markets and do different things. And in doing so, we have to be very transparent. We have to show them that the experience is different, that it's changing. We have to humanize the entire thing. You do not understand tonality, or you do not understand anything like that from a text message or an email. And it's really even hard to do that sometimes on a phone call, but you can understand and read people's facial expressions, if they're excited, not excited, whatever, via video. So we really push the video on our side just to kind of change that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so telling what he just said there. When you send that text or you send that email, 7% of what you say is written down on paper. And I've said this, I mean, Liza's probably heard this. I mean, some of the people that heard me talk on video before has heard me say this, but, my wife will send me a text and I don't know, because it's like 5 paragraphs long, and I'll have somebody else read it. I'm like, is she pissed? Because it's so long, right? And I just know the tonality. I'm going to read it like it's from her, not knowing. But with video, and when you ask people to get them in the showroom, 55% of how you communicate is body language. So when you get people in the showroom, that's what you're teaching your salespeople. You're going to sell more cars because they're seeing your body language, and that's what video is doing. And Colby, we're going to share a video that Colby has done, because how you celebrate video. This is a great example of what he did at his store recently.
Yeah. So, what's up, Tom? So the BDC isn't, so the first 4 days in my business rules is the internet staff specifically. So BDC is not involved at that point unless the internet staff drops the ball. So if they do not respond immediately on the engagement for the lead, if they don't respond in time from the response from a customer, that's when BDC would get involved. But the first 4 days, now it's 4 days, when it was 7 as well, it was strictly the sales team and management. Yeah, the BDC is doing really the long-term follow-up, data mining, all the additional stuff. Yep. So getting back to, one of the things that we do in our store or our stores in general, is champion video to the point of, we throw a spiff out there, we do whatever, we have kind of fun and games with it. So what I'm going to show you is a video of one of the salespeople that we have at our Nissan store in San Marcos, and that week they were doing a contest on what is the most creative appointment confirmation video that you can send. So everybody had to do different appointment confirmation videos. This one was the one that ended up winning, but I thought it was pretty unique. Should I play it?
Today's the day. Burn myself, but today's the day. Today's the day.
Come on, give it up. Isn't that cool?
So the interesting thing about that is actually when the customer received it, they laughed in response to it. But when the customer came in later that day, walked in, asked for Maddie, it was the salesperson's name, asked for Maddie. Maddie walked up, and the customer looked at Maddie and said, "I guess today's the day." So it was a cool experience, and so it's made a huge difference for especially the store in San Marcos. It's a smaller store. It's a Nissan store, sells 100 cars. There's Nissan stores north and south of it, about 20 miles. So it creates that unique experience at that location. That has actually really helped us out a lot. So, but video in general, we do a lot of this stuff at our stores across the group. One store is going to do this, one store is going to do that, and then we share it back and forth. So we're very much about being creative and showcasing that customer experience.
Yeah, I think it's just cool because with all the apps like TikTok and you got, you got. Was it Snapchat? You get all these applications, and people are just using these apps to download it and then upload it into whatever video tool they're using. So it's pretty creative. I love that video. It's one of those things. Anytime I get videos from everybody, I love to share ideas so you can inspire the stores, because that's what your people are starving for. Is give me some ideas to send video, and that's a great way to celebrate like what the winner was. So next time you do have a contest, people are thinking more creative. So the next slide that we're going to go into, because we're talking about video, and this is what you want to probably take a picture to. Oh, you have to. People always ask us where there are opportunities to send the video, and
Today's
rerun. There we go. So if you're going to take a picture and you're going to implement video at the store, Colby and I love to talk about this, or I love to talk about this as dealers, is there's so many opportunities. You guys right now, I guarantee, are doing your typical BDC introduction video and a walk around video. And there's so many other opportunities where to send video. And Colby and I were talking. Colby, what's your favorite place to send a video? It's
Whether when I was selling or now or anything, like the one that I like the most, the one I see some fun with is that the customer visits with an absent spouse. So often it's husband or wife that are in there looking at the vehicle. Hey, I got to go check with my spouse, right? Or I got to do all that stuff. Incorporating the spouse in a video to send to the other spouse, basically having that spouse say, hey, here's a feature and a benefit, here's a feature and a benefit, here's a feature and a benefit, selling it to their spouse, and then seeing how excited and happy and enjoyable the experiences is with that salesperson, it makes the deal a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's always one of my favorite ones. The one that I always like to do, I like to make, if I miss an opportunity when we're out there, if a customer doesn't show up to the store, the missed appointment video. How many of your customers don't show up to the appointment, right? How do you make them feel guilty? Shoot a video. And I'd stay up there and say, hey, Jeremy, Steve Roessler here at the dealership. Hey, I had the car behind me all cleaned up for you. I skipped lunch for you. I'm starving. I'm going to go to lunch. Let's reschedule. All right. They're going to feel guilty, but you're going to do it with a smile on your face, right? So, and what are you trying to get? You got to get that appointment back on the book. So it's a great way to re-engage that customer, let them know it's okay, but try to get them back on the books. So I like the missed appointment video. So there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. So in kind of going from that, I guess, sealing the conversation on video, this is actually just to kind of as a proof of concept on that. This is last week. So we have a thing in the stores that we call quarter times, where every several hours the entire store meets up and they go over every metric, phone calls, emails, texts, videos, social media posts, you name it. And with this is as of last week, just sorting them out. If you notice anything, you notice that there's no canned videos on there. And there's no canned videos because in reality, we've really pushed into the store the value of that personalized videos, including their name, including the vehicle that they're looking for. But this is within a week's time. So you have some people that are doing 27, 30 videos a day, and some people that are doing 10. But this is just a part of that normal cadence now, just like sending a text, just like making a phone call.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, canned videos, if you never heard the term canned video, it's a repurposed video. What a lot of people will do is they will do a video, they save it on their phone, and they'll reuse that video for 100 people and say, I shot video. But the personal touch, you can't say the customer's name in a canned video. So it's a big difference when it comes to open rates, click rates, and that customer experience, positive reaction from the customer. People like to hear their name said on the video. So just hats off to Kobe for doing that. Wrapping up our last one, this is one of my favorite ones because again, we're focused on the digital showroom. Okay, I want you, if you're gonna take something away, you've probably heard us talk about video, you've heard plenty of talks on business rules, but if you've been sleeping through this whole thing, please pay attention to this part. Conversational engagement. That's a new term that you probably have never heard about. Conversational engagement versus what I call transactional engagement. If you go out there and read the digital communication from your store to your consumer, I will 100% bet, whatever you want, that it is transactional. Transactional means that there is no feelings about the deal. I'm just doing the deal to do the deal. When you're doing conversational, it's kind of like you're talking to your friends and family, right? Somebody says something to you, you're gonna acknowledge something in that communication and respond back. So the old school mentality, instead of always, getting everybody on the phone, I don't know if you know this, but usually it's 9% of people pick up the phone. And yet we're still doing out there 50 phone calls, if you're BDC, 100 phone calls, brain damage. Brain damage. We're celebrating the wrong activity. Texting is going to be the #1 form of communication. The e-blast, the templates, I already harped on the templates, but we also have to acknowledge the fact that customers are researching cars. People want to buy cars. They don't want to be sold. It's a huge difference mentality, and I think we're going out there and still doing a lot of that. So Colby, what are you doing on the engagement side?
Yeah, so our whole, based off the fact that, our business rules are short, we really look at everything from a conversational level and how are we engaging with the customer? How transparent are we being? Are we offering them different ways to communicate, whether it's text or video or live stream? If they're there or not there, we ship cars anywhere that they, customer needs a vehicle. But in reality, what we look at is responses of that, back to that customer. Because everybody in here, if you get a text, you pretty much respond as soon as possible. That's why response rate is so important. But a lot of people just look at the response rate on the initial lead. What we focus on top of that, because over the entire group, our internet lead response time is 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So it's great, but we have to look at the response rate and response time after that. When a customer actually engages back, what is your response time on that on average? So within Drive, for instance, they have the fumble percentage. If customer responds and it goes an hour, which is a hell of a long time, you'll get a fumble. We really harp on no fumbles. It's unacceptable. So our BDC, like I was telling Tom earlier, our BDC looks at the 10-minute mark. At 10 minutes, if there is not a response to that, the BDC will jump in and make sure that there is at least an engagement back. That helps in terms of overall engagement massively, just by responding quick enough. But we also communicate in ways that are using emojis, using GIFs, communicating as if we were communicating with a friend. Obviously, probably not as vulgar as Steve texts me, but
there you go.
But we are very transparent and very responsive and communicative. And
just kind of think about this. When you think about being responsive, I want you to think about how you staff your stores if you're an operator. Because the studies that I've kind of looked at, this is what the data somewhat shows. I got to do a better job of it. But for every one customer you get in the physical showroom, you will have 7 customers in the digital showroom. All right? So the question is, are you staffing your stores to manage the digital showroom? So if you had 140 customers talking to your store today, you got to staff appropriately or have people quarterback conversations. And that's that fumble rate. When you go to the next slide, this is a study from HubSpot right here, came out right after COVID, just showing how customers expect a response. So your digital showroom is now, can we all agree, more important than your physical showroom? Can we all agree to that? If you can't talk to a digital showroom customer, they're gonna go elsewhere. They're gonna go somewhere where they are getting that attention digitally. Text, video, email, that's the way, live streaming. You have all these tools at your fingertips to enhance the customer's experience. So what we wanna do is, I'm gonna show you a couple of conversations These are true conversations as part of our wrap up. And I'm going to role play this out, but again, I can't make this up, people. So I want you to see if you look at these conversations in your CRM. This one said, Andrew, I sent over the numbers you requested on the Forerunner we have in stock. Please get back to me when you get this. That's the first text. That happened at 6:43. The next text came out 20 minutes later. Said, are you ready to do this deal or what? All right, and pay attention.
Store.
2 question marks.
It wasn't my store, just so you know.
All right, it's not Colby's store, I promise you. That was at 7:03. The next conversation, you wanted the information I got you. What's going on? Does anybody look at their digital communication like this? Good, good. Because this is where it's costing you deals. You know what the customer said? Rude. If you're going to be this rude, I'll take my business elsewhere. All right? Most people don't even look at that stuff. So, I mean, these are live conversations. Now, Colby, because of the digital communication, let's reenact this. What could we do differently to train salespeople not to say that kind of stuff? If I got that first text out, I'd keep that same text. Colby, what would you send?
Well, in reality, it's really hard to say anything that's not going to sound rude or be perceived as rude because you know, it's a text. I'd send a GIF or send something to spark them.
Well, Eliza knows what I would send. Go ahead, hit that. Look at her. All right, one of my favorite GIFs of all time. If you ever go to my GIF class, this is like my favorite GIF to somebody ghosting me.
Your peanut butter class?
GIF. Oh. GIF. All right, Liza, am I the king GIFer? There you go. I still haven't got a response, but anyway, no. We love it. But look, does that make everybody laugh and smile right here? Nobody's going to get angry. All right? If you tell me that, you don't want to send GIFs, don't send a GIFs. But I will tell you that we probably send GIFs or memes or things to friends and family, right? And if we don't do that to our customers, I guess it makes the customer the enemy. I don't know. That's a joke. Nobody's laughing. All right, let's look at another conversation here. All right, so this is Martha Stewart. Believe it or not, I was talking to Martha Stewart the other day. Martha Stewart said, I hadn't responded back sooner. I've been pretty chaotic taking care of sick grandbabies. We're planning on selling the Expedition outright and sell it at a good price. I don't want to give it away either, yada, yada, yada. All right? So what do you notice in that conversation? Anything? How would you respond if you were old school Kobe? Well, what do you think the typical car guy would say? Or gal? Go ahead. What is it? There you go. Go ahead, hit it. It's probably a text template that they put on there. Please stand by. But Colby, if you're going out there coaching and you see this, what are you going to share with your team?
First thing that I would share with them is that you have to acknowledge the difficulty that the person has. So you have to be empathetic, sympathetic to their situation. So I would acknowledge the sick grandbabies or something of that nature.
That's right. This is conversational commerce right here. You're acknowledging the customer is opening up their door, giving you a little secret about what's going on in their life. And instead of doing that transactional approach, why when we got there, no worries, I hope your grandbabies are doing better, I get with our yada, yada, yada. That's conversational commerce versus transactional. Does that make sense to everybody? And you will see this if you go in and look at your digital conversations back and forth in your CRM. I guarantee you have coaching opportunities to help your people have real conversations and build relationships. It creates retention. You are not going to build retention unless you build a relationship. How do you do that? Get to know the customer. Anything you want to add? All right. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed, obviously, the skit. I appreciate Colby. Give it up for Colby over here, sharing his information. Is there any questions or anything else?
We actually had an anonymous question, Steve, for Colby.
Good.
Colby, about the average shopping timeline. How are you calculating that timeline?
From the initial lead time. So whenever it came in to the time of sale.
David.
Do you measure both sold from lead and sold in time
sold from lead and sold in time frame.
So sold in time frame would be a current month lead, so for the 1st to the 27th.
Yeah, so I measured from a closing percentage and the time of that closing. Yeah,
So sold from lead versus sold in time frame. Sold in time frame would be from the 1st of this month to the 26th through today. Sold in time or from lead would have been that lead could have came in last month.
yeah, I do the sold from lead. That's how I measure when it comes to the overall.
So no matter when the lead closes, that's your closing percentage.
Correct.
And all that data was this year. So again, you can go out there and like I looked at last year. Last year I had the same data. I mean, I can go out there and look at 100 stores, 200 stores. It's roughly the same as what last year.